Everybody has promised a blog here on this Friday night, and we'll cover the rain event first off that'll take place, already is in some cases, for the next 24 hours. And then we'll cover, of course, Patricia and how that is going to impact our weather for next week. First off, we've got this stream of moisture moving through. We've had some raindrops, very light sprinkles have already fallen here across a good chunk of wave country. In fact, that's telling us the cloud deck is lowering steadily right now. So we are seeing everything begin to moisten up to where the shower chance from here on out is going to slowly ramp up as the night goes on. The main plume of moisture still back here into Arkansas. That will continue to funnel its way in, though, right into the Ohio Valley. This is not, I repeat, this is not Patricia. This is a separate system here that we're dealing with in the next 24 hours, and it connects all the way down again to Texas. Patricia is way down here. Made landfall in Mexico about 7:15 this evening with winds of 165 miles per hour. As it was earlier today, the strongest hurricane in history in the Western Hemisphere. And made landfall again at 7:15 is going to be an absolute nightmare. Already is now in central areas of Mexico as it tracks into the Western Gulf. A lot of debate on whether or not it will become something a little more tropical in nature once it gets back into the Gulf or not. It really depends on how much of the tearing up of the mountains, how much that will impact the system's organization by that time. And it will do a number on it. So it'll quickly knock it down to a depression by the time we head through this weekend. All right, let's talk about this rain chance, though, this first wave. First off, by near sunrise tomorrow, we'll see some spotty downpours around as we continue on through the morning. A lot of you will be tailgating, I know, early in the day for homecoming. Keep in mind, there will be some spotty downpours. It is not going to be completely dry everywhere. You may get lucky, even at the Papa, get lucky and not see anything for about 4 hours. While across the river, you see 2 or 3 downpours. So that's going to be very, very spotty, but plan for rain just in case if you're heading out there throughout the day. And the spotty showers will continue, but notice what happens. As the boundary itself gets into our northwest section here, our viewing area, it's going to start to what we call force the atmosphere upward, and that is going to create a solid line here, some showers and maybe some rumbles of thunder, and we will see that organization become a little more of a factor as we into Saturday night as it passes through a good chunk of our area, anywhere from Cincinnati through Carrollton, Louisville, down into Litchfield. Nothing severe expected, but there could be some pockets of gusty winds, but mainly just heavy rain and some lightning and thunder. Again, this will be roughly around supper time, if not just after, when it passes through. Then that's it for the rain. The problem would then be the clouds. And the system's going to stall in Tennessee, so the cloud cover is likely to get stuck over us throughout most of Sunday. The models try to clear us out, especially over Indiana. We've seen this case many times where the clouds really hold tough, so we're going to bet on a more of a cloudy day. But at least for the making strides against breast cancer, it does look to be dry. Just wear a jacket, because down at waterfront, even with the cloudy sky there, it could be on the cooler side compared to what the numbers are showing. All right, so that is system number 1 that could give us about, I would say, 3/4 of an inch in the worst case scenario. Most areas probably, I'd say, 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain. That seems to be the general consensus on the models. It really will depend on that main front band that moves in the evening. That really will be the main total maker for this event for Saturday night. So it all depends if you get hit by that or not. Then we get into the remnants of Patricia. And these are the wind arrows, and these are the potential wind gust. And eventually you'll see the radar images, future radar, be added onto this. But this is going to be Tuesday morning. Got a northeast flow. Watch how the arrows will begin to turn around as the low pressure. Again, this is not going to be anything like Ike, by the way, like in 2009. This is tropical as far as its origins, so it's going to be a very warm core system. Warm core systems can produce a tremendous amount of rain. They do have very little lightning, by the way, with them, but a lot of wind and a lot of heavy rain. That's pretty much the story I want you to get from this. And as that low pressure moves in Tuesday or Wednesday morning, the winds start to pick up out of the southeast, and that trend will continue throughout the day on Wednesday. In fact, by Wednesday afternoon, we could have wind gusts anywhere from 24 miles per hour to about 43 miles per hour, is what some of the models are indicating, and very heavy rain over the area. And that can knock some trees down and produce wind damage. But because there's no lightning, we may not have any type of severe thunderstorm warning or anything like that get issued. But it could be a situation where we have some potential for flash flooding and, of course, potential for some tree damage. So I wouldn't rule it out. Then as we into Wednesday night, we get a little bit of a break very late Wednesday night, early Thursday, but then we get the backside of the system. This is the upper low, and we get the winds shifting around more to the north, but it may be a little gusty at times, and it could add some drizzle around for Thursday morning, but wind gust again around 30 miles per hour. It's going to be chilly. I mean, it's going to be a lot colder of a feeling as you head into Thursday. So how much rain are we talking about? This really will depend on the initial track of the core of the precipitation as it moves through, but as you can see here, about 2 to 4 inches of rain I would not rule out of the system as it passes through. So you can see the concern there for flooding. So as we look at the models here, we're going to go through several day events here. First off is, if you've seen this map before, these are the deterministic models. These are the ones that run about every 6 hours in most cases, except for the Canadian and the Euro. They are every 12. And these are the ensembles of the same models, which factor in many more ideas into their outlook compared to these models, which can have knee-jerk reactions. So looking at this is the GFS, here is the Euro, and here is the Canadian. This is going to be for Tuesday night. You can see the remnants of Patricia right here, right over Louisiana, on all the deterministic models, and even the ensembles show it really well, about the same spot on every one of them. As far as the northern branch energy, this is where the models differ quite a bit. The GFS, pretty strong with the northern branch feature right over the Dakotas. The Euro has a kind of split. You got a piece to the north, you got a piece that's broke off here across the Rockies, and then the Canadian is stronger, but much further to the north on the border. So the deterministic model is a little iffy on the northern branch part of this, and that's important because that is going to be a key player in just how cold we get behind this heavy rain event for Wednesday. So we have to look at the ensembles for right now to kind of help us out with that. And if you look at the ensembles, they kind of even out the errors enough to where you see kind of a general agreement there on the placement of the northern branch feature there. So that's why we are having to trust these more than we can these. All right, so then we get to Wednesday night. At this point, the remnants have already been sucked into the system, so it's no longer an area of low pressure, basically. It's combined with the northern branch at this point. It's phased together. And the ensembles show that pretty good. The operational models, deterministic models, decent except for the Canadian. The Canadian gets a little aggressive here with really driving that cold air into portions of Missouri as we head into Wednesday night. The other one's not as aggressive, and the ensembles seem to agree with that idea. So that makes a little more sense and gives us a little more confidence in that idea. And then we head into Thursday morning. Again, Canadian, a little wild here with the wrapping up of the system. It's very deep with this area of low pressure, and the other two not as dramatic. And then when you look at the ensembles, they almost look identical on the ensemble side of things. So it does look colder. It does not look cold enough to produce anything wintry the way it stands now. My caution in this is going to be if, for some reason, Patricia emerges in the Gulf of Mexico as a much stronger system. Say Mexico does not tear it up enough, and it can regain some type of tropical characteristics and then move inland. It very well, because this is a heat engine, it very well could pump the ridge to be quite high on the eastern side, and the reverse reaction would be a pretty deep trough with the upper low behind it. And if that's the case, the Canadian would win. And the Canadian may be trying to sniff that idea out. Who knows? It would score a coup if that was the case. So we're not discounting it, but right now we have to go with the ensembles until we see how things evolve. It's just the way we have to do it in forecasting until we get better data. By the way, as we head into Halloween, a little disagreement here on Halloween, especially in the deterministic models. They're trying, GFS is really trying to spit out some energy right at us Halloween morning, which would mean Halloween night would be rainy. The Euro is a little slower with that. Keeps the high pressure much more in control over our weather for a while, so it keeps us dry. When you look at the ensembles, decent agreement that high pressure would be in control, so that's why we're going to keep Halloween dry and Keeneland dry. But that will likely change on the 1st of November. I think we'll get some rain in here. And looking long term, for those of you that love to do that, there are signs that we're going to see some significant cold air being available anyway to the Canadian border. Whether or not we get anything to tap into it and bring it down to the lower 48, we don't know. The GFS is the only model that can see out that far, and it says, yes, there is going to be something that's going to pull it down by November the 7th. The ensembles don't say that, and I'm not surprised that they do, because they shouldn't this far out, but at least they do agree that there is going to be much more cold air available as we get into early November. that's when things will get interesting to see if we can get anything to tap into it or not. So there you go, guys. That's how things are standing. We've got the rain event tomorrow. We'll see how the system plays out for Wednesday and the cold backlash on Thursday, and then hopefully we can keep Halloween dry. I will see you tonight at 11 o'clock. Have a good night.